Most North Koreans now have some sort of smartphone.
Oh, yeah.
Then, they've got a big jump, a department store selling Ralph Lauren stuff, even a lot of it's fake, I think. And they have like a Starbucks copy and an IKEA copy. And all the hotels as well that I've been in there had the had Noraebang, and they had lots of weird songs. And I kid you not, there was a Rage Against the Machine song. Obviously they use like Dongwoo for friend, Dongwoo, Dongji, comrade. It's kind of more like military terms. They speak so much more formally in North Korea. And then I'm there like, Joshim and Aniya, probably more feminine way to them, whereas they're all like, again, Dongwoo, Dongji, Gangagashimika.
Okay, Joe.
Bastian.
Nice to meet you.
Jan.
Nice to meet you again.
Chukbe, as they say in North Korea. I'm Joe from the United Kingdom, and I've been in Korea or South Korea rather, for about 3 years now. I think just over 3 years. Yeah.
Working as an actor, model, and musician.
Yes, doing a bit of that, but.
So can you tell us why North Korea?
In answer to your first question, I guess my first job here was actually working as an intern for this media company, an American media company, and all they did was report on North Korea.
Oh, yeah.
And they're called NK News. And you can find it at nknews.org, and I've got hundreds of stories on there. And it was just basically a bunch of nerds obsessed with North Korea, 8 of us in a room, an office in Gwanghwamun on the 16th floor of one of the buildings with great views of the city. And everything we'd do all day would just be, from morning to night, anything North Korea related, I don't know, ambassadors moving around, satellite imagery. It would be obviously just state media. It would be if they released some funny photos of,
Because North Korea is not famous as much in Europe, at least.
No, I guess because South Korea nowadays, you've got the K-pop, K-beauty, K-dramas, K-films. Almost feels like K-everything. Suddenly South Korea in the last decade plus has just been put on the map. Suddenly, my family and friends, and 15 years ago, I reckon they couldn't have named anything to do with South Korea, other than maybe the cars, like Hyundai and Kia and things. Samsung
and Samsung Hyundai. That's all. And in French we say Hyundai.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that's all. Obviously, I would say more industrial side of things, whereas things that are more soft power related, like the K-pop, the K-dramas. Whereas now, all my friends and family back home in the UK can all now name Korean artists, BTS, Blackpink. They can all now name Squid Game, K-dramas. They can name Parasite and all these things, and also a lot of, especially my female friends back home in the UK, can all name beauty products from South Korea, and they can't name any North Korean films, North Korean dramas, North Korean bands.
We know Kim Jong-un and the before one.
Kim Jong-il, and then before him, Kim Il-sung.
And now the daughter is like to be famous.
Whose name we believe to be Kim Joo-ae, but we're not 100% sure. Or people aren't 100% sure. Well, that's an interesting thing because she's been more in the media recently, and actually South Korea, I think it was last week, released some report of South Korean intelligence agency that we believe that she is the next successor in North Korea. But bearing in mind, they only think currently
they have the black jackets. In France, it's wow, it's crazy. They both wear the black jackets.
Look at this. The pictures are quite stark and impressive, and not what we're used to seeing from leaders. But the thing is that she's just a 14-year-old girl. I think they don't even know the exact age. By the way, they don't even know her exact age. I think they don't even know when her birthday is. And the thing is, he's believed to have other children, Kim Jong-un, but obviously we don't know. There's so much that's unknown, and no one knows about this stuff. It's there's so much about North Korea, which is just a mystery, and no one will probably ever know a lot of the information.
So that's why you're so interested in North Korea? It's because it's a mystery?
Yeah, I think there's no other country in the world like it where they have access, or a lot of North Koreans have access to modern technology. For example, mobile phones. Most North Koreans now have some sort of smartphone.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Especially in Pyongyang, the Wonsan, the major cities, Kaesong, these areas, Siniju, on the border with China, Chongjin, or that side. But they don't have access to internet. People don't even know the exact population of North Korea. Some people debate around 21 million, some people say around 25 million, 26 million. No one knows because they don't release stats and figures, and North Korea might not even know themselves how many people there are. But when it comes to the mobile phones and that kind of stuff, there's not a country in the world with that many people and no access or such a lack of access to outside information.
I don't even know another country.
Yeah. but they have TVs. They have, you know, some of them even have, you know, even when you're in Pyongyang, you could be in Pyongyang in some areas and be fooled into thinking that, oh, this is just like a extremely modern developed country.
Yeah.
But it's only you know, like it's only like 1% of Seoul, you know. But at the same time, you could be fooled. And you know, they've got a Baekhyojam, you know, a department store selling Ralph Lauren stuff. Even a lot of it's fake, I think. But even selling some international whiskies and all that kind of stuff. And you know, a lot of the wealthy North Koreans will go there, and they have like a Starbucks copy and an IKEA copy and all that kind of thing. You know.
For like an elite of like North Korea.
Exactly, yeah, and a lot of it is for like this kind of growing elite. Yeah, you'd be fooled into thinking it's this like extremely modern major city with the department stores, and they have the fake IKEA, fake Starbucks, fake Ralph Lauren clothes, like say for the elites of North Korea to buy. But they, like I say, they don't have access to the internet. And there is so much poverty in the country. There's a huge disparity realistically between, say, the people that live in places like Pyongyang and then the countryside, the rural countryside. And a lot of the rural countryside you can't even visit, as like me as a foreigner who's been there 4 times.
How many
4 times now,
4
4
times?
to, yeah.
When was the first time?
2018.
2018.
Yeah, and that was at Pyongyang. I went to Pyongyang, Siniju on the border with China. We also visited
Yeah, so you need to
Kaesong.
you don't have direct flight to North Korea, right? You need to pass by China to be able to.
Yeah, well, at that time, 2018, I was coming from the UK, so I spent a few days in Beijing, China to
So
Beijing,
you did like London, Beijing,
Yeah.
Beijing.
to Pyongyang. Yeah, and you can choose when you book these tours. So there's several tour agencies that are all based in China,
Okay.
and then they take English-speaking travellers to North Korea, where you'll be assigned with English guides and blah blah blah. And it's all very sort of, quite controlled. It's quite strict. It's the strictest country in the world, I think. When you choose one of these tours, you can choose to fly there. It costs a bit more money, or you can take a train, and the train takes like 24, 25, 26 hours because it's like from Beijing to Dandong, China, and then you switch onto another train, and then it's like Dandong to Siniju in North Korea, and I think then possibly then you switch onto another train that then takes you to Pyongyang.
It's way cheaper.
I think $200 cheaper.
$200.
But
That's not worth it.
But I've done both, because I did the train, because if you actually fly though, by the way, you stay overnight in Beijing and then you fly the next morning, because during that whole time the people on the train are still on the train, you know. But I've done both. I've done the train in, train out, and I've done the flight in.
What's your preference?
Right, okay, if I'm being honest, the train is more interesting, because as soon as you actually get into North Korea, and then you're on this train, and I can't remember how long it takes to get from the Siniju on the border to Pyongyang. I'm going to go 3-4 hours.
3-4 hours?
I'm going to go around that. And the flight's like 2 hours, you know. But everyone's looking out the window and taking pictures, and because for a lot of the people that go there, this is their first time in North Korea, so it's like their first... wow, North Korean countryside. And then when they look back at all the pictures, well, yeah, but I would say that a lot of the villages, they're further away, they're in the distance. You can't see behind mountains. Like, you're not able to capture much. But it's just pictures of the countryside. But then, if I look back at those same pictures that I took now in 2018, it could be like the South Korean countryside. It could be Chinese countryside. It's just random. Yeah.
It's like not like. Oh my God, that's North Korea for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
The tourist guy that comes directly to you and say, hey, we will visit this.
Yeah, you have a basic itinerary online when you book these trips.
So you know from the beginning what you will visit.
Roughly, it always changes.
Okay.
It changes a little bit, but you have a rough idea. And there's a few things like the statues of the leaders. You get taken to this war museum. You get taken to the Kim Il Sung Square where they do all the military parades. Like those things are almost on every tour. Like you're guaranteed to do those stuff. They have the Juche Tower, which is just a large tower you climb up, and it's got like an aerial view of Pyongyang. So that stuff, yeah. And then all the other little bits, like sometimes you get to go to a department store, sometimes you get to go to an indoor swimming pool, or indoor swimming park. What's it called? It's like a Mul Nolijang, they call it, like Mul water, Nol play, Nolijang. I can't remember the name of it, I should know this. It's in Pyongyang, but it's very famous. Moon something it's called. Anyway, Monsu Mul Nolijang in Pyongyang. Sometimes they take you there and you can like rent trunks, so they just give you some trunks, because a lot of the travellers, when I went there in January in 2019, it was fucking freezing and I wasn't expected to be going swimming. So they
But
just
it's
they just
hot inside?
gave me a few pairs of trunks and
That's
then got to go to this like indoor swimming pool. And it was good
So,
fun.
how many people with you on the Tristan?
Usually around 20, give or take, on every trip. Yeah, and okay, this is actually one of the craziest things I think people underestimate about visiting North Korea, is that when you go there, you don't have access to outside information, you don't have access to internet, you don't have, you can't make international phone calls. I mean, some of this stuff I think you can do, like, I'm pretty sure in the hotels you stay in, you can make international phone calls, but it costs a fortune, you know, like $10 a minute or something, like crazy money, and no one does it, and it's only a phone call, like it's not texting, it's not, you know. So every time I've been there was no access to any of this stuff. So everyone on the trip just like bonded, you know, like every evening. Okay, you get picked up from your hotel in the morning at like 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Then you get taken on all these days' activities. You get taken back to your hotel at 9 p.m. after you've eaten dinner and things. Usually all in Pyongyang or areas close around. And then everyone would just go to the bars in the hotel. There's like a bar or two. And you just chat, drink, and it's about $1.
You don't get out of the hotel if not drinking.
Yeah, you can't leave the hotel. Yeah, you have to stay there until the next morning and the next day's activities. But when you're in the hotel, yeah, like, again, like, no one's being antisocial. Everyone suddenly was just like, yeah, just drinking with each other, having fun, talking. And it was $1 for like a big, what would it be, like 660 milliliters. You know, like here they got the Cass and the Terra, those like the big ones they give you at the restaurants and you'll share. It was $1 for like a bottle that size. So we were just, you know, continuing buying, and it's North Korean beer, just $1 a time, and we would just get absolutely smashed.
Yeah,
and all the hotels as well that I've been in there had the had noraebang as well, so they have like a karaoke, and then when you get drunk enough, inevitably you end up doing a karaoke, and they had lots of weird songs, and I kid you not, there was a Rage Against the Machine song. I'm pretty sure of this. I'm pretty sure there was a Rage Against the Machine song on the. In the karaoke is one of the songs, and they had like Beatles songs. They had just random, you know. I'm just trying to think, like usually stuff which is like obviously just very non-political or apolitical, like like Beatles songs. You know, there'd be the odd like even American artist on there, like Frank Sinatra or something. You know, just something like a classic.
Yeah, the classic.
Yeah, along with North Korean songs as well.
You just did the capital city, right? You don't go to another city.
No, I've been to other cities. Yeah, I've been to Siniju in the border of China, Chongjin, Hamhong, Rason on the border of China and Russia. That I went there last year. Pyongyang, of course. Wonsan. There's a mountain, Myohang-san. Which, I mean, it's not much there, but it's just like a big mountain. I also visited there. So I've been to those places.
So you can speak with North Korean people, or like when you do the meeting?
Mainly the guides. So you assign 2 North Korean guides on these trips. So also, say there's like 20 of you. You know, roughly. It always changes, but around 20. You get 2 North Korean guides and a driver, who's a bus driver. And you can speak to the guides and things, but on all the trips I've been on, no one really spoke Korean. Or if they did, a tiny, tiny amount. But my Korean, as you very well know, isn't that good. But I think on every trip I've been on, or the recent ones, I've spoken the most Korean. With the guides, you can speak with, but like average people in the street, very, very, very difficult. When I went to that water park, there were North Koreans there at the water park. It was at the weekend, and was able to like sort of speak with some of them. At one point, we went to a big park, Mole Park in Pyongyang, and then there's some North Koreans again on the weekends out there having little picnics in the summer and stuff. And some they have people dancing and things, and we're able to join them dancing. Again, you can have like tiny, tiny conversations, but you are being watched, and there's
You can't like say, hey, let's drink beer together and.
No, well, yeah, come meet me at the hotel later or something like And also they don't speak English, by the way, like that.
So like let's say like if you speak fluently Korean and you go to them like South Korean and you go to them, you think that you can communicate with them? Like,
yeah, if I know my Korean, I was able to chat with people when I was there a little bit, especially the last time I went last year, because then I've been living in South Korea for 2 years at that point, and you know. Again, just like basic Korean. I'm not sure how much the North Korean government like it, someone being there who then can talk.
But like for me, I was like thinking like North Korean and South Korean are like almost the same language, because it was the same country, but like less than 60 years ago.
Or 1945, the split.
So it's like less than 100 years ago. It's not enough to change like a totally. So I was like more like they have like a satori. You know, like for example, the people from Busan, or like they have like little difference.
Yeah, there's difference in accent between even people in North Korea, same as there's the difference in South Korea as well. Like the Busan is obviously a common one, but yeah, in North Korea they have different accents and also they have different words for things. They don't use a Konglish like we use here.
No English. Do you know how they say television in
Oh, television. No, I don't. I should know this, but I know, like, for example, I know even hotel is Liaoguan, Liaoguan Hotel, and like obviously they use like Dongmu for friend, Dongmu, Dongji, comrade. It's kind of more like military terms they love to use.
Like comrade.
Comrade, yeah, that kind of stuff, yeah. And you know, like here, like, I don't know, like Jajaneseo or any other things, you know. There they say Gangang Hashimika. That's a very common Gangang Hashimika. Also, like, there's weird things. Again, I don't know if this was how people spoke Korean more traditionally, like in the Joseon period or whatever. And by the way, North Korea call themselves Joseon.
Yeah.
That's what they call them, Joseon.
Okay.
So they don't refer to themselves as Bukhan or North Korea.
Oh, yeah.
We're Joseon Salam, Joseon Mal, you know. And yeah, and again, I don't know if this is to do with like more traditional Joseon language. I think it is, but like we say nail for tomorrow, nail, whereas they say leil with the leil, yeah. And like history here is yoksa, whereas they say ryoksa.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think it's again because gradually over the years, over generations, it's been simplified in South Korea, whereas they've kept to the very even if it's more difficult for us to say.
Maybe they speak more like the old Korean when the South Korean is more like with the English vibes and everything. Maybe change
like a more international Korea. Yeah. No, I think that's right. Yeah.
Okay. And so when you speak with the guide people, do they? You speak with them in Korean? Do they like kind of like, oh wow, you speak Korean?
Yeah, when I went last time, there was like, oh wow, like okay, this person can actually speak some Korean and form basic sentences and ask basic questions and stuff. Because I guess they're just not used to that. But again, it was basic, you know, nothing crazy. But they can understand me. But then they knew though that I'd learned Korean elsewhere, like in South Korea basically. They knew like they speak so much more formally in North Korea, and then I'm there like, you know, Joshim and Aniya, you know, probably more feminine way to them, whereas they're all like, you know, again, Dongmu, Dongji, Gangang Hashimika. I'm trying to think of other North Korean phrases they say. Oh, they're big on like everything manse, something manse, juche, manse, sahwejui, which is socialism, sahwejui, manse. And you see that on a lot of the signs and things. They have Chinese cars. They also have old like Mercedes and things. It's kind of like German cars. Fiats, I remember old Fiats they have. I did see a Mercedes G-Wagon when I was there. Well, I know recently there has been a huge uptick in like car ownership in North Korea. But previously, people would say like, oh, if you own a car in North Korea, it's like owning a private jet in the Western world. But it's more capitalist than a lot of people realise. There are, I say semi-private companies, like even electronic companies where they do kind of have these freedoms to make these mobile phones and to make even like they have smartwatches there